Hello. In today's video, I wanted to speak about the topic of feminism. Feminism, why this topic is important. So, as you can see in this world, everything that society, humankind produces, everything, every kind of movement or community, there is always then a group of people that infiltrates into any kind of community or movement and then distorts its original message, right? We have this everything with religion, for instance, Christianity, right? Or maybe with feminism or any kind of movement. There is always then this evil in the planet, in humankind. These unconscious people that are driven by the Satan himself. And then this evil infiltrates everywhere and it distorts the original message, the original truth, the core of it. And then we all think that some movement or some message is bad, right? This is happening throughout all of our history. No matter what humankind produces, even if it has, in the beginning, a very good intention, there is then always a group of people that serves Satan, and then these people, this evil infiltrates and uses this same thing, same message, same movement community to then distort it and make it be a deception and not a guiding light anymore, and not something that should help society, but something that destroys society, right? And we can see this everywhere. It happens all the time. So the problem are the unconscious, immature people. The unconscious people are immature because unconsciousness just means I am not living my whole self, so then I'm being partial. And because I'm being partial, I see the world partially, right? You only understand the world as much as you know yourself. There is no bypassing that. This is how it is. This is the universal law. The degree that you know yourself is the degree that you can understand, see the picture, understand what is happening in the world. And so unconscious people are just not whole people that are because of that they are behaving immaturely, partially, from distortion, from fear, from disembodiment. And then because of that, they see the world through their own filter of partiality, dissociation, right? Because they don't recognize their own value, because they're not whole, they don't recognize the value of what is being presented to them. And then they are just lost, and then they just go with the belief of the masses, with the belief of the community, of the movement, right? People like these, people that are not mature, people that are not grounded, standing firm in their own intelligence, in their own discernment, these kind of people, then they are just lost and go with the masses. And if the mass of people will say something is bad, this kind of people will say this is bad. If the mass of people will say this is good, then this kind of people will say it is good, right? So the problem in this world are immature people that are unconscious, and this is not the only problem. So this is the first problem. But then also, what is the problem is the immature people are actually the people that repress their own life force. And the people that repress their own life force, that repressed life force is acting as a food for demonic forces. And so people that are repressed in life force have a lot of demonic entities. This is almost every person on the world. Almost every person in this society is immature, repressed in their own life force, so not whole, not acting from worthiness, but unworthiness because they're not whole. This is the first problem. And the second is that all of this is coming because of their own repression of life force. And that repression is the food for the demonic forces that are then actually, these literal demonic beings are then literally actually guiding these unconscious people energetically. They are guiding these people in life. So first, unconscious people are already not seeing life as it is because they are not fully in it. And then again, they are guided by demonic forces. They are guided by demonic forces, and they are unconscious of that. So these kind of people are a problem in the world because this is the mass of people, and the mass of people will actually say what will happen with us, right? So this is why awakening is so important. But awakening to what? Awakening to standing in your power, awakening to your power to actually start becoming discerning in life, to actually use what was given to you, your intelligence, right? Your individual experience, to be a sovereign being, to actually not move like a ship with the mass of people, but stand your ground and discern what is happening, to purify yourself from fear in order to be whole, so you can be open to life and see it for what it is, and not see it through your own distortion of fear and unconsciousness, but see it clearly because you're aware and not anymore guided by demonic forces, right? And so, because the mass of people is like this, then I'm here making this video on feminism, so we can actually discern what is truth and what is falsehood, right? Because feminism, for instance, I don't know anything about feminism. I never read any books in my life. I don't like reading. And I was never interested in what feminism was about because I'm a man, right? It is obvious that feminism should be something about femininity, something about women, right? And because I'm a man, I never gave it 2 cents, right, of my time. So feminism, so to be honest, I don't know what it is truly about. And even if it had good intention in the beginning, which I believe it had, now this message is totally being distorted and destroyed and used for the evil. And that's why, like, nowadays nobody likes anymore feminism, right? In the past, when you heard feminism, it was like, yeah, feminism. But now, when people mention feminism, it's like, wow, feminism is just another agenda of the elite. to destroy humanity, right? This is how we think about feminism right now, most of the people. And so I don't know anything about feminism. I don't know when it started, this movement, what it is all about, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how the mainstream views it. It doesn't matter how people view it. I will explain how I perceive it from a purified state, from an enlightened state, how I view it. And I would like to describe the core of it, the truth about it, the primary intention of it, and what's the whole thing about it, right? So always keep in mind when I speak in this video about feminism, I'm not speaking about feminism from the ideologies of feminism, right? I will just tap into the energy of the truth of it, okay? So feminism, right? So feminism, it's obviously something about femininity, right? It is something about women getting to their power, right? So this sounds okay, right? Until now it sounds okay. So femininity is about women getting to their own power. Yes, who doesn't want people in power, right? I want. So why would this movement arise, right? I think nobody can deny that we live in a patriarchy, right? We live in a patriarchy. Men, mostly men, the majority of the people that are leading, dominating this society are men. And even those women that are in the leadership positions are very masculine. So even if there are not all of the men in the leadership positions, in the domination of the world, even if there are some women, they are very masculine women. We can all agree, just look at these women. They are not attractive looking women. They are not feminine looking. They are very masculine looking and behaving, right? So it doesn't matter if you disagree or agree with me, who is running the world, who is dominating the world. Because even if they're like, we can all agree that men are dominating the world. And no matter what we say, there will always be a group of men that will go to war, right? So no matter what we think, there is always a man that will go to the war, right? He just does what he wants, right? So a man is dominating this society, we like it or not. And even if there is some kind of woman in this kind of position, it is masculine in behavior. So it doesn't matter. It is this masculine, patriarchal approach to life. The man, the dominating force. And in that, dominating everybody else, the femininity and the women in life, right? And so we can all agree on that. There is no denying that. Until now, the history that we have known, that we can remember, it was always dominated by a man. We always lived, since we can remember, in a patriarchy. There is no denying that. And so in a patriarchal system, the man is the dominating force, and everybody else is serving that. So the masculine force is the dominating one, the highest one, and everybody else is serving that. There is no denying that. Like, before, few decades ago, if you asked for instance, your grandmother, like, or great-grandmother, or the history, how it was, like, women didn't have the same positions like men had, right? They weren't viewed as equal in society. They weren't viewed as equally powerful, or even more powerful in some places, in some ways of life, right? They were always dominated. Women were always dominated. And even if you don't agree with this, there was always war on this planet that started because of men. Men were in the war, and in that war, not only men were dying, but everybody else, right? So if a man starts a war, then it would be appropriate for then only men to die, right? If men have a problem and want to go to war, then only men should be dying, right? But no, in every war that happens, everybody is dying, also women and children, right? If we look at the war, the most recent wars that are happening, mostly, even though women and children don't want to go to the war, women and children don't want to go to war, they are mostly dying in wars. Children and women, right? And so we cannot deny, no matter you're a leftist, a rightist, conservative, or Democrat, Republican, or Democrat, it doesn't matter. We always lived, since we can remember, in patriarchy, and man was dominating everything else. If we look at the history of the statistics of it, the biggest Holocaust, the biggest genocide happened upon women, right? Women, femininity, women and children, right? When we say women, we have to know that in that women community, in that women, there is always also a child. Because without a child, without a woman, child will not survive. Child can't even be produced without a woman, right? They can't be born if there is no women. So if you kill women, you kill children automatically. And so if we look throughout the history, women were always being dominated and killed. Women and therefore children. It was always like this. Women and children constantly throughout history being killed and dominated. And it is still happening. The ones that don't want the war but suffer the most because of it, right? And so there is no denying that no matter who you are, I don't belong to any ideology or politic side. I don't care about that. I just want the resolvement of the issues in the world. And so there is no denying that, these facts. And so because women were always dominated and treated like something less, not an equal, the most sensible thing is to start feminism, right? Is to start the movement that would support, that would defend femininity, everything that's feminine, and this is women and children, everything that's feminine, because the masculine didn't provide the safety for the feminine, right? If the man of the world would be acting maturely, then providing safety to the planet, then femininity would be safe. It wouldn't need a movement to protect itself, right? And because men were always acting immaturely from their own wound and an unconsciousness, And because they are always the last to evolve, the slowest one to evolve, then women had to protect themselves. And so they started feminist movement, right? A movement, a community of people that will stand for protection of femininity, for women and for children, for femininity. So the intention is right, it is valid, and it was needed, no matter what you think. There is no denying that. We all know that the world is immature, and if men are dominating this world, which they are, then the men are the immature, right? And so feminism is here to counter that, to protect women, to protect femininity. So it is totally valid. So the intention was needed, it is totally valid, but as everything I have already mentioned, unconscious people are evil, demonically Satan-driven because of that repressed life force functioning as food for literal demons. And these kind of people then infiltrate into every movement and distort it. So it is presented to the world, and it even starts behaving like that. Sections of that movement then start behaving destructively. It goes into an extreme. It starts behaving destructively through immature and evil people. And then this whole movement gets bad rap, right? It is then viewed and hate badly, and it is hated by the world. And now we think that feminism is just another elite agenda to destroy families, right? When it was in the beginning actually very much needed. So let's not be stupid and just jump with the belief of the mass of people, because then we're just constantly being distracted and not discerning what is the truth about it, right? You have your own intelligence to think about life. So feminism was needed and it is valid, but it got distorted by immature people. So know what to do about it. What to do about it. So I don't belong to the mainstream idea of feminism. I don't support it because it is destructive. But I belong and I support to the core of feminism because it speaks about protection and liberation of femininity, which we came here to do. But I will explain in totality so you understand it and finally change your view upon this topic. So what is femininity, right? If you would like to fully understand this message, I have just done a video where I spoke about how to balance your masculine and feminine sides, right? Just check it out. It's very good if you want to fully understand this message. But I will just explain briefly that actually femininity, it's in all of us. Femininity, it's in all of us. What does femininity even mean? In its core, right? Not in its ideology, but in its energetic truth. What does it mean? Femininity means life force. In our individual experience, we could say there are two principles. The one that's aware, the principle, a part of our experience that's aware of everything, our awareness. And then there is this other principle in our experience, everything that we are aware of, right? So there is awareness, and then there is life force, that this dynamic force that generates everything that we are aware of, right? These two principles. So masculine, the aware one, and then feminine one, the life force dynamic one that we are aware of. Because if there is no feminine force principle in our experience, there is no life and there is nothing to be aware of. then we are just being aware of nothing, aware of awareness. What boring life, my God. So you're then like just existing, but there is nothing. So it's like there is no existence. If there is nothing to be aware of, just then being aware of awareness, it's like, I don't think it's even possible. Because the point of awareness is to be aware of something, right? Men have eyes, not just for nothing, but to adore women's beauty. It is integrated in every part of our life, on all levels of being. It is how it is. God truly is a master, the highest artist, magician there is. We can truly be just thankful for that and admire it. So, here is this dance of awareness and life force, of masculinity and femininity, right? And so we can all agree that women are feminine in their nature, right? And that children, especially very young children, how they behave, if you look at them, they behave like women, right? Children mostly behave like women. And we even say to very feminine women that they behave like children, right? And we actually like that. It is very innocent. It is very beautiful to see a woman and say she is like a child. And this is very beautiful to see a feminine woman behaving like a child. And seeing a child and admitting that actually it is very feminine in its nature, right? This is the truth. This is how it is. You cannot say it otherwise, right? So, but is this femininity, if we look at it, it is actually also in men, right? Because you are also life force. You also have life force. You are the life force that generates and creates all of this, all of what you are, your body, your thoughts, your sensations, your emotions, your drive, your sexuality, your work, everything that you create, everything that exists, everything that moves, everything that you are, is life force, is your life force. So you are by default a feminine being. We are all, even I, even though I'm a man, a heterosexual man, I am by default feminine in nature. We all are. There is no denying that. We are feminine in our nature. Everything that is created, everything, even man, everything that's created is created from the life that was given to us, right? The life force that was given to us, the life force that we are aware of. And so it is feminine, because we being aware of that is masculine, right? So what is truly femininity is not some ideology. Feminism, it's not about some ideology of femininity, but it is about the energy of femininity. Because we have to take, in this channel, we take words literally. We take them literally in their whole meaning, not in some partial ideology that you have, but in their whole meaning, with all the ideologies and whole energetic truth, in their entirety, in their full spectrumness of the word, right? And if you take femininity, and if we take it seriously, it means, femininity means, I have just proven, it means life force. It means life itself. It means creation itself. And so femininity, energetically, in its truth, in its core, it means creation, it means life force, and so it means even man. It means even you. It means actually everything. Femininity means everything. Everything that was created, right? The life force that is giving us life, that is even making it possible for us to be men, women, and children. Because without life force, without this feminine power, there is nothing. There is no life. And so thanks to this femininity, this life force, there are children, animals, food, women, and even most masculine men. Because what is a masculine man? A masculine man is not somebody that's only masculine, but somebody that's balanced, somebody that's mature, and only a balanced, mature human being, it truly is powerful. And so a masculine man is a powerful human being. It is not a man that's masculine based on some ideology of some group of people. A masculine man is a mature man, and a mature man is only a balanced man. And a balanced man, you come to balance by accepting life force, by accepting the femininity within. Because only when you have an experience of life which comes from femininity, from the life force within, which generates the experience of life, we can then be aware of that and step in our masculinity, right? So only in this way of being, we can balance our masculinity and our femininity through the femininity. So the femininity is the portal to the balance between femininity and masculinity. Because without the feminine experience of life, what are you truly then being aware within this masculinity? Nothing new. So you're not being more aware. You're only being more aware when you have the feminine experience of life. And experience of life is by default feminine. It is by default feminine. So only if you are taking aligned action, being open, being in your feminine, open to the guidance of God, receiving the life force in the moment, and then acting, being masculine about it, and becoming therefore aware of this experience, becoming fully masculine, only in this way of being, acting from balance, aligned action, feminine and masculine principle, aligned action, acting from balance, you can manifest a balanced life, right? This is the only way you can manifest a balanced life, a balanced whole human being, and therefore a true masculine man and a true feminine woman. A human being in its power and in its balance. This is the only way. So, because the most perverted and destructive Satan worshipping elite knows this, because it has some intelligence, because they know this, how to then destroy this planet. If you want to destroy this planet, you destroy this planet by traumatizing people, because if you traumatize people, the effect of the trauma is now you're fearing life. You are now fearing life. And what does fear of life mean? We have said that life is femininity. So if you traumatize people, they fear life, right? Because what is the effect of trauma? People have been traumatized, and if you take all of the context of all of the traumas of all the people on this planet, the same effect is there. And it's just because people were following their own life force, being whole and spontaneous about it, and were rejected in that, now they fear being again one with life. So they live in resistance now with life. They live in resistance to life because they fear again being rejected, right? They fear experiencing rejection again, right? Because when they were a child, they were rejected. And because when you were a child, your survival was at risk if you were rejected. So you didn't want to risk your survival. So you rejected yourself, right? You complied. You started performing. And you then, because of that, live in fear of not wanting to be guided by your own life force. And then you just live by default like this if you don't resolve this, and you become unconscious of this, right? And so now people still have this fear of being rejected because it triggers their own imprint, this fear of survival, even though it's just an imprint, because now you're not dependent anymore on adult for surviving, you still have this fear to face. And it's just a fear. There is no more risk of survival, of life. There is now just this imprint of fear, which is very real in your body, needs to be felt, it is awaiting to be experienced. So you can finally go through that, feel the fear, and still be dedicated to following upon your own guidance of your life force, the guidance of God. Because you have been now living in resistance to this, and you are now facing that by facing the fear to it, right? And you do this by acting from alignment right now and be dedicated to that. Because when you will be acting in alignment, you will be starting to live in flow with your life force. You will start to do that which you have been resisting your whole life. So you living from the balance, you are resolving the trauma effect, no matter what kind of trauma and how much and when it happened to you. By starting to live in aligned action way from balance, masculine and feminine, you're manifesting that balance in the future, and along the way resolving all of the trauma. It's incredible how life works. It is very simple, and this is the only way that you can sustainably, permanently get to that place. Everything happens by itself. In the process, you're resolving the fear, all of the trauma effect that culminated in your life, and at the same time manifest a balanced self. So, because elite knows all of this, how to then damage people, right? If you want to damage people, just traumatize them, make them fear their own life force, hurt their own femininity, make them fear their own femininity. And if you make them fear their own femininity, they will not know themselves in their own femininity. They will not know themselves in parts of their life force. And this way you make them unconscious. And if you make people unconscious because they are now fearing themselves by fearing their own femininity, their life force. They are now fearing themselves. They live in fear. They are unconscious. They are feeling very small and separate from life, from everything. And now you can control them, right? And these kind of people are then even being guided by the demonic army, these entities themselves. So people are distorted, immature, being dumped down, and then even guided from that fear, from the demon itself, from the demonic entities. And if you have this kind of people that deep down inside hate their own nature, their own femininity, their own life self, then the men hate the woman in themselves, and then they hate the women outside of themselves. If a human being hates femininity within, it will even hate the femininity without. It's how it is. Life is just a mirror of ourselves. So this is how you destroy humanity, right? So then men, because of all of this, start behaving immaturely because they have also been hurt by the fucked up elite. Men start behaving immaturely, destructively, and because they are the strongest physical force on the planet, then they dominate everything else. They hate the woman within, they hate with the woman in the woman, and they hate the woman in the child. That principle, right? The femininity. And so then weak, distorted men are keeping all of us, all of the world, then just being slaves. We deep down inside hate our own life force, our own femininity. And everything that's happening on the planet, the killing of the men, the killing of the women, and the killing of the children, the killing of life itself, the killing, therefore, of femininity itself, because life force is femininity. It is then just a mirror of that. And so the fight of the femininity, of the feminism, the movement of it, this is the core of it. It's actually very important and still very much alive. If you ask me, Jesus, Mohammed, and all of the enlightened beings, all of the people that truly know what it is all about, they have all been fighting for femininity, for feminism, but they didn't use the word feminism. Because if you look at it, all of the enlightened beings, just look at Jesus, he's fighting for humanity, right? He was fighting, he still is fighting for humanity. For what? How do you fight for humanity if we know that this is the problem? You now fight for humanity by liberating femininity, right? Feminism is just a more appropriate name, more specific name for the thing itself, right? Because we are fighting for femininity, there it is obvious that there should be a feminist movement, right? This is the truth of it. I'm speaking about the core of it, the energetic truth of it. I'm not speaking about ideologies. Don't mix it up and hate on me because you think that I'm saying that feminism is something we should strive for. I'm speaking about the core of it, and we should strive for the core of it, because this is the problem of the world. And so actually Jesus and all of the enlightened beings, they were all feminists actually, because they were fighting for humanity. And how do you fight for humanity? You fight for humanity by fighting for femininity. right? The only fight there is in this life is the fight for femininity, because the femininity is representing life force, right? And this is the only problem that we have. People fearing their own life force, because this is the ultimate trauma of life. The ultimate trauma that we have received from the demon himself is this living in this state of rejection of ourselves, the rejection of our own life force, so the rejection of our own femininity. It's the only problem of the world that we have. All of the destructiveness and greed and suffering comes from that. All the distractions on this life, porn, sex, drugs, alcohol, everything that's happening is just to alleviate the suffering that we're experiencing on all levels of life, just because we are repressing us. We are resisting ourselves being in flow with life, being in flow with the guidance of God, being in flow with God. That's it. This is it. This is the only effect of trauma. It's vaccinating people with fear of living. That's it. If people don't have experience of themselves as life, they become unconscious. If you become unconscious, you become weak and controlled and manipulated and sick, and you die. That's it. This is how it is. And this is happening. I'm not imagining this. I'm just describing what is happening. And if you have cleaned your glasses, your eyeballs, you can see that. So if you want to help humanity, you should be a feminist, but not in ideology, in energetic alignment with the truth of it, right? So the point of life is to fight for life. How will we resolve war on the planet? How will we resolve all of the destruction of the world? By fighting for life, right? It's obvious. It's a logical conclusion. We have to start fighting for life instead of being against it, right? And it starts in ourselves. The world is just a mirror of ourselves. We are fighting life ourselves, outside of ourselves, because we are fighting, resisting life within. And I have already explained how to resolve that. Every video is about that. I will be repeating myself like a parrot until I die. That's the whole point of life. It's very simple. So if you want to save not just women, finally liberate them and make them equal, and recognize their own value and their own power, what they bring to the table, because they bring something we can't, we never will, because we are men. If you want to give them their own pedestal that belongs to them, if you want to do that, then you have to fight for feminism, for the energetic truth of it, for liberating femininity. And in that you're fighting for children, right? And in that you're fighting for men, because men are also feminine beings. There is no human being without the feminine principle of life. If there is no life itself, there is no man, right? A man is only a man because femininity flows through him. Life flows through him. Femininity gives him life. So if you want to be truly masculine man, if you want to save the world, if you want to be protector and provider, most macho man, if you want to connect that macho-ness truly, intimately and fully with a woman, then you have to be balanced. You have to Be in flow with your femininity. It's the only way. So you actually have to become a feminist, but in the energetic truth of it, not in ideology. Right? That's it. Life is very simple. It is very beautiful. Once you see it clearly, it is magical. So by us all becoming feminists, not in ideology, but in the energetic truth of it, the core of it, in the life force itself, in liberating the life force itself, by starting to act from alignment to life within, starting to act from balance, we can manifest a balanced world. Accept the femininity, the life force within. When I say femininity, I don't speak about ideology of femininity being like a woman, because I'm a man, right? I'm saying about femininity as the principle of the life force of life. That's it. A man can only be fully man if it's first fully a woman, fully feminine. There is no other way to it. If you want to be a man without that, then you will be the man that we see right now in the world, the distorted, weak, destructive, dominating man that everybody runs from. Right? Nobody wants this kind of man. So liberate femininity. Liberate the energy of femininity. So the life force, align with it. Start obeying the guidance of God. Start acting on what is being provided to you. Stop denying yourself of who you are. I will never again betray what I feel and who I am. I will never betray how I feel and how I am. No matter what. I will never betray what I'm guided to do. What is most genuine and presented to me. I will never again deny that or lie to myself that it is otherwise. If what is most genuine and present, the life force that's being provided to me, from now on I will only be aligned with it. I will never ever again betray myself or lie to myself that it is different from what it is. This is the only way, radical honesty. It is the only way, alignment. It is the only way to liberate fully femininity and to become fully masculine, to become a balanced human being. Let ourselves, by obeying the guidance of God, by acting upon it, let ourselves reveal. Let's allow God to reveal to us what a man and a woman actually looks like. And let's stop trying to define it from ideologies, from indoctrination, from dissociation, right? This is it. It is very simple. So this is feminism. This is feminism. This is the movement of feminism. in its core, in its energetic truth. And actually, every evolved being is fighting for it. Actually, I'm feminist in that sense, very much, and Jesus was also. Every evolved being is, every enlightened being is a feminist in its core, in the energetic truth of it. It is. Because it is the portal to balance. Everybody that's evolved knows that. The liberation of femininity, it's the portal to balance. It's how it is. It's how it was set to be. So even in that sense, you can see that actually by being totally liberating, in that sense, I'm actually becoming fully conservative, right? So I just wanted to point out that actually when you're balanced, you can see that every world view has value. By itself, it is distorted. But from a whole point of view, you can see that there is value in everything, right? What do liberal people, what is their mistake? They are liberating life force, they are liberating femininity, but they stop at some point because they are doing it through a method. They stop at some point because they are doing it through a method, and then they accept that as the final step, as the conclusion, right? And until you're fully resolved, fully liberated in your life force, you are distorted. And acceptance of distortion, it's acceptance of still a state of fear, of unconsciousness, and therefore of sickness in the world. There is so much diversity because we are accepting the sickness in the world. So the liberals are doing this mistake of doing a method of liberation, which is then just always limited at some point. And they think that it is final, but actually it's just still limitation, distortion, partial liberation, but because it's partial, it's distortion and still sickness. And then people are accepting sickness in this world and saying that they are being liberal, right? So this is the problem of being a liberal, because liberal people really don't know how to go all the way. They don't know the way to it. They don't know the way to finalizing this liberation. And I have just explained it, how to come to that liberated balance, right? Because the final point of liberation is balance, but they don't know how to get to it because they're not being guided by God. They're trying to do it by a method. They are lost. But when you come to that balance, you actually come to actually see that conservatives are in a sense right, saying that there is just men and women, right? Because actually it is true. There is just men and women. All of the people of this planet, all of this diversity that we see in sexuality and in this identities world, everything that we see, all this diversity is just liberation not being met fully, liberation not being balanced, liberation not being finished. And they have stopped, they are limited, they are still distorted, and we are accepting that. And this is not naturality. We have to go all the way in this feminism movement, fully get liberated, and then we will see that actually life is simple. There is no much diversity. Actually, there is just men and women in their own full power, heterosexuality, and that actually how life was set to be by God is our most powerful state of being. That's it. This is the biggest thing, treasure, value that you can give to a child. Having a man and a woman as caretaker, as father and mother, right? Because only a man and a woman can provide full spectrum humanness and give it as a present, as a gift to a child, to the next human being. Only a man and a woman can be the full representatives of the full spectrum of humanness, right? Two women can't be that because they are lacking the gifts of a man. And two men also can't be that because they are lacking the gifts of a true woman, right? There is no denying that. Until we are there, everything else is just partial liberation and therefore still distortion. But let's come to that not through some conservative ideology where people are just performing being human, but let's embody God. Let's embody our femininity as our life force as our femininity. Let's embody it. Not through a method, but through the guidance of God, through aligned action, where you start stepping in the balance to manifest the balance of it, of that liberation. Liberation from rejection of your life force. It's so magical. Life is so magical. And there is no magic in it, like you being a magic and a wizard and trying to control of it. It is just surrender to life. The being truly a magician in life is not you knowing tricks of life, but you not needing to do anything and allowing for the magic to happen by itself. This is true wizardry, if you want to be a magician of life. Not you doing the magic, but you recognizing the magic and allowing it to happen. This is true wizardry, not needing to be the wizard. So we are still fighting for feminism, but not the ideologies, the energetic truth. Everybody, Jesus was fighting for feminism, the truth of it. Every evolved being is fighting for that. It's how it is. It's the solution to all of the problems. I'm so happy that video got through because I am experiencing some problems with recording my sound. But somehow it worked. The message is being recorded. Thank God. I'm doing this video probably third time or fourth time. So yeah, that's it. Feminism, it's still very active and still very needed. Because true feminism is the solution for the world. If you are open enough to receive the truth of it, the energetic truth of it, true transmission of it, not the superficial, ideologic one, but the energetic transmission of it. And if you're open enough, you have just received it. That's it. It went so easily and so fast that I'm a little bit astounded, like, is this it? It looks like this is it. If my videos at the end, when I rewatch them, feel incomplete, then I always write a post on Facebook and Instagram about it as marketing for this video, where I make a short summary of it, and then I add if I didn't, if this feels incomplete, but it feels complete. It's very interesting how life is simple, how actually true life force to wholeness truly is. So true femininity to balance truly is the only thing we need, the only real solution, the resolvement of all of the problems of the world. How simple it is. I'm not saying that the path it's easy, but it's also not impossible. It's not impossible. It's much easier than you think. Fear only looks fearful until you meet it. Once you meet it, you see it doesn't kill you. You just shake like an animal and you walk through it and you see that you survive. That's it. And fear is the only thing that's that's trying to stop our power to be fully revealed to us. That's it. So feminism, I just wanted to drive a point home that feminism is still very much active, still very much needed, and it is the solution to all world problems. So, see you in the next video.